Every 40 seconds, someone is involuntarily committed to a psychiatric institution. Every year, 1 million people are electroshocked. And worldwide, 180 million people are now prescribed psychotropic drugs, 20 million of which are children. The psychiatric pharmaceutical industry rakes in $330 billion annually. Yet according to official psychiatric bodies, it cannot lay claim to a single cure. But documenting psychiatry's inhumane and often lethal practices and defending the rights of its victims is the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. It all began in 1969 with the case of one Victor Ghiori. He had been unlawfully incarcerated in a mental institution for babbling incoherently, but in fact, he was merely speaking his native tongue, Hungarian. Securing Ghiori's release was the first of thousands of cases championed by CCHR. In Australia, CCHR exposed a deadly psychiatric practice called deep sleep therapy, wherein patients were placed in a drugged coma and electroshocked. Not only was it done without their consent, 48 patients died during the treatment. CCHR fought on behalf of victims until the hospital was shut down and deep sleep banned. Then, in South Africa, CCHR uncovered the existence of psychiatric camps where tens of thousands of Africans were brutalized and used as slave labor. Subsequently, the World Health Organization and post-apartheid government investigations condemned psychiatry's racism and abuse. In Germany, CCHR exposed abuses and deaths in psychiatric hospitals, including a psychiatrist's involuntary commitment of a man he'd never even met. A landmark decision from Germany's Supreme Court was issued, ruling all involuntary treatment illegal and outlawed across the country. Then again, in Japan, CCHR exposed patient abuse in the financial crimes of psychiatrists and hospitals defrauding the government and taxpayers out of millions. The guilty were convicted and patient protections implemented. While in the United States, CCHR uncovered a billion-dollar fraud in the nation's largest chain of for-profit mental health facilities. Dozens of prosecutions ensued, with millions of dollars in fines imposed, and the entire chain of corrupt hospitals was closed. And in Israel, CCHR documented a litany of psychiatric crimes that included assault and battery and grievous bodily harm. This led to an official investigation by the Ministry of Health and a raid with no less than 150 police officers on a private clinic. Ensuing public outrage contributed to the ministry ordering that all remaining Israeli private psychiatric hospitals permanently close their doors. To further bring an end to psychiatric human rights abuse, CCHR works with lawmakers, doctors, and like-minded groups to bring about protections for patients. Such as in Europe, where the European Medicines Agency slapped antidepressants with suicide warning labels for children and youths. And the United States and Mexico, where, thanks to CCHR's efforts in promoting the Child Medication Safety Act, parents can no longer be coerced into giving their children psychotropic drugs as a requirement for them to stay in school. All told, it's better than 180 laws and about 300 official drug warnings, forever safeguarding the public from the dangers of the psychiatric industry. CCHR's international headquarters in Los Angeles, California, serves as a public information clearinghouse, documenting psychiatry's harmful practices and publishing its findings in some 18 languages. More than 12 million copies of their publications have been distributed to healthcare professionals, government officials, educators, and business leaders around the world. CCHR's headquarters is also the site of the world-renowned museum, Psychiatry and Industry of Death. Centered around 15 documentary films, the exhibition presents the history of psychiatry. From its origins and practice of putting the mentally ill in cages, to the present-day mass drugging of society as the cure for invented mental disorders. CCHR further sponsors a fleet of Industry of Death traveling exhibits, visiting scores of cities worldwide. These presentations have revealed the truth about psychiatric abuse to hundreds of thousands more. While to reach still more with the truth and raise public awareness, CCHR has produced a series of multi-award-winning documentaries exposing the abuse and deceit behind psychiatry's pseudoscientific facade and the financial motivation behind it all. CCHR also provides educators' kits that include a guide with which to hold seminars based around the documentaries. As one example, the Kit for Marketing of Madness provides model legislation, suggested legal protections, and copies of the Psychotropic Drugs series booklets, which outline side effects of psychotropic drugs as well as available treatment alternatives. All told, CCHR documentaries and public service announcements have appeared in print, on the airwaves, and across the internet, informing millions with the facts about psychiatry and psychotropic drugs. Wherever human rights are abused by mental health treatment, CCHR is there, blowing the whistle on psychiatric crime, establishing protections for those in distress, and educating the public on the truth behind and alternatives to the unworkable and dangerous practices of psychiatry. Thousands from every faith and walk of life have joined CCHR to defend human rights against psychiatric abuse. It is a fight that will continue until psychiatry's abusive and coercive practices cease and human rights and dignity are returned to all.